built around here, and now to the actual story. What actually happens around here. In order to understand who came up here and what they wanted, I have to tell you a little bit about what happens after King Herod dies. Okay? King Herod. We thought that King Herod is the worst thing we could ever have. He's the worst leader ever. He hates the Jews. He taxed us so much. Guys, we didn't even know what we were talking about. We had no idea. His son was crazy. And after that, Roman posts came to rule over us. Now, until today, generals and army people do not know how to be in charge of civilians. Around the world, it just doesn't go. They think army, civilians is something completely different. It just doesn't go. The Romans could not understand us. Pontius Pilate, cruel to the Jews. The Romans had two populations here. One was Jewish, half of the people, and half of the people were non-Jews, mostly ex-Greek and Roman and Philistines and all of these people that we call the sea people. I jump a little bit forward. In the year 66, things starts to get out of control. Out of the splits of Judaism that I told you, there were quite a few of these radical zealots. They used to believe that they get their orders straight down from God Almighty. Everyone trying to get in between them and the direct orders was stabbed, usually holding a little dagger called a sikar in Aramaic, which they used to come dressed in white and do these political assassinations in Jerusalem. Jews, non-Jews, they didn't really care. Stab between the fourth and the fifth rib, death instant. They stirred up so much in Jerusalem that the people in Jerusalem got to the conclusion that they're breaking up the status quo that we have, and they should kick them out of Jerusalem. Guys, I want to ask you now, before I continue, is this too warm for you? You want shade?
No.
You're not going to fall asleep on me, okay? What? Okay, so they're kicked out of Jerusalem by the high priest. When they're kicked out of Jerusalem, they have nowhere to go. They go down to the Judean desert. We don't have the prairies of Canada or the deserts of Mexico to run away to like you have. We run down to the smallest desert in the world. Everyone does it, down to the Judean desert. If you are persecuted in Jerusalem, no one will come after you down to the Judean desert. They come up here, they know about this fort. 200 warriors come down from Jerusalem, Jewish warriors. They overtake this place in a night. Boom. 30 people maintaining the mountain, no competition to them. They take hold over this place, all of the palaces built by Herod, and they settle around here. At the time, the Caesar in Rome, a guy called Nero, loses a few battles up in Europe. He owes a lot of money. He says, if I owe a lot of money, let's just go down to Jerusalem and just take the menorah. I'll pay back my debts. That beautiful golden menorah that we had up in the temple. He sends his troops down here. We shout, how dare you even think about it. We open riots against the Romans. But the Romans, you can't do this against the Romans. They're not Egyptians or Persians. They take all of the high society of Jerusalem and all of the priests. They strip them naked. They hang them off the walls of Jerusalem in front of all of the people. Full disgrace. These people, the warriors over here, hear about this. These are super radical Jews. They leave everything over here and they go up to save their brothers in Jerusalem. They manage to get up to Jerusalem, manage to conquer the city, conquer the main fort of Jerusalem called the Chakra, save the priests, and their leader comes up to the high priest in Jerusalem and says to him, look, I renominate you to being the high priest in Jerusalem. The high priest in Jerusalem says to him, who do you think you are? You're a peasant from the north. Who do you think you are to renominate me? I'm the high priest. I don't need you. They take this guy, they torture him, and they kill him. The guy who just saved the high priest. His people are puzzled. They left everything down here to save the day. They managed to save the day, and yet their people, their leader is murdered by the people that they saved. With no other choice, the second in command, a guy called Elazar ben Yair, takes control. He says, look guys, we're really not wanted up here in Jerusalem. Let's just go down to the desert. That's where we belong. They come back down here and they sit here from the year 66. They do not interfere again with all what is going to happen in Israel. The attitude towards Jews turns worse and worse. We really don't know what to do. Then the Romans sent troops on one of these pilgrim voyages up to Jerusalem, 66, Passover 66. About 100,000 people go up to Jerusalem for the pilgrim. כן, גנביץ'. כן. אבל אני לא יכול...